Good morning, everyone, and today is day 17 of our 28-day challenge. This is Julie. I'm at my home this morning, and I have been doing a little studying for the past day or two on that dreaded, beloved, most hated subject. We're going to talk about sugar today. So I'm a little excited, but also a little nervous about talking about sugar because there's a lot of different information out there and a lot of controversy. So we are just going to get right with it, and feel free to post your comments, post your suggestions down there. Love to hear where everybody is today. It's amazing how people are just all over the country. I think as I was looking through some of the past videos, we have had drivers in almost every state in the continental U.S. The only ones I don't think I've seen yet are up like in the Maine or New Hampshire, Massachusetts area, Vermont, up in those states up in there. There may be a few and I've just missed them, but I think we have all the western states covered, the Midwest, and most of the East. Hey, Carmen, good morning. So we will get on it. First, we're going to talk about sugar. We're going to talk about what it can do to the body, and we'll look at some different kinds of sugars and try to do a good, better, best type scenario today too. So I'm going to start out by explaining exactly what sugar is. Sugar is any soluble substance that comes from a plant seed, like a seeded plant, from a seeded plant. Hey, Marty, good morning. It comes from a seeded plant, the sap of a seeded plant. So whether it be granulated sugar, or which is actually mainly what we see in most of our foods and beverages and things today. Morning, Jennifer. We see whether it's granulated sugar or different types of sugars that we have. Most all sugars come from the sap of a seeded plant, and so, but how they're made and whether they're refined or not makes a huge difference. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there have been some studies out there that show that excess amounts of sugar are actually as addictive as cocaine. And so we want that pleasure sensation, and we want to be able to feel those things. What it is when we eat a lot of sugar, our body releases something called, hey Robert, good morning. You're just fine, you're not late at all. Our body releases something called endorphins. It's actually dopamine that's released. When you have a lot of sugar, you release dopamine. And that's one of those feel-good hormones. So for just a little while, that just a temporary amount of time, that sugar makes you feel good because you've released that chemical in your brain. And then there's that craving there, and you want to feel that again. And rather than go exercise or do other things to get things going in your body and release those hormones naturally, we tend to want more sugar. We want to feel good. It gives us that instant high and some energy, and so we want to eat more. Unfortunately, there's a lot of repercussions behind doing that, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But we wonder, why is sugar in almost everything we eat? If you start looking at labels, and we as Hope showed you yesterday, when we start looking at labels and ingredient list, sugar is in almost everything. I know I was looking, I thought, ketchup. Oh my gosh, we're talking a couple of tablespoons or teaspoons of ketchup, of sugar in ketchup. I think it's in 2 tablespoons of ketchup, you have a teaspoon of sugar. I mean, that is incredible. Then you think about how much sugar is out there. So look at your ketchup, you'll be surprised. And the problem is you try to find ketchup without sugar, and it usually has some sort of artificial sugar like aspartame or sucralose or something in it. So just little things like that, that you don't even think about. A lot of your foods out there, and you think, it's very difficult to find cereal that doesn't have added sugar to it. It's in almost everything. So you got to be careful when you're looking for things to eat. Sugar's hidden in almost everything, and you think, wonder why that is. Why would sugar be hidden in things? Well, because of what we just talked about. People really like it. It's addictive. You have that craving. You want it, and they want you to eat more of their food. And let's be real. Sugar tastes good. Morning, April. And and hey, Michael, good morning. So, if sugar tastes good and it gives us that little high, then sure, companies want you to eat more and more and more of their food. They're going to put something in there to make you want to continue eating it. So absolutely, it's going to be in a lot of things. So you need to be careful and read those labels, as Hope was telling everyone yesterday. Read and see what's in there. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is what excess amounts of sugar can do to the body. Now, like I said, sugar is out there. It's in a lot of things. I'm not telling you to never eat sugar. That's almost unrealistic to say that you're never going to have anything with sugar in it. Especially, they're natural sugars. If you eat things you eat fruits like oranges and apples and, berries and different things like that, strawberries, it's going to have some natural fruit in it. But the key is when you eat things naturally and you eat it rather than in good foods that are good for you, one, you get vitamins and minerals, and two, you get fiber. Hear me when I say you get fiber and things like that. And fiber is what slows down that sugar spike in your body and slows it down and makes it work harder. And your body doesn't metabolize that sugar as quickly. And that is what you're looking for. If you're going to be doing things with sugar, you want it to hit the body slowly so that you don't get that sugar spike. Because as you know, especially with diabetics, that's huge. You don't want to have that happening. But an excess amount of sugar in the body can lead to big issues down the road. You may not see it now. You may not see it 5 years from now. You may not see it 10 years from now, but you will see repercussions down the road. One of the biggest things that excess amounts of sugar causes is inflammation in the body, chronic inflammation in the body. And what it does, when it's metabolized when the sugar metabolized through the liver, it causes a chemical reaction kind of to take place within the body. It's kind of scientific, and so I won't get into all that. But it sends out these little histamines to the body because it thinks there's an issue going on. It thinks something's happening in the body that's not really happening. It confuses the body, and you end up with inflammation. You may feel it in your joints. You may feel it in your fingers. You may feel it in your sinuses. You may feel it in your all throughout your body. It may be in your legs. It could be in your arms. It's chronic inflammation, and chronic inflammation leads to a whole another set of issues. You wonder, why do I feel depressed at times? Why do I feel so tired all the time? Why am I pre-diabetic? Why is my body feeling just run down? A lot of time it's that chronic inflammation in the brain and in the body that causes that. And yes, I said brain, in the brain too. Another one of the leading, I don't want to say causes, but contributing factors to Alzheimer's as they're doing studies, and not just Alzheimer's, but all forms of dementia, is chronic inflammation in the body, chronic inflammation in the brain. And that's due in part to an excess amount of sugar over a long period of time. And so, once again, the choices that we're making now are going to affect you down the road. They're going to affect how you feel, how you live, what you're able to do. So when you're out and about and you're looking at, what do I want to put in my body today? What am I going to take in today? Think along those lines. How is it going to affect me down the road? And a lot of times we are so into, and I'm speaking to myself, I am not just talking to you guys when I'm saying this. I am guilty as anyone else about liking to have a piece of cake sometimes and wanting to go out to eat and eating whatever I want. And so it's human nature, and I struggle with it too at times. And I'm still working on it. I'm in process. I'm still a work in progress like everyone else. But when you're out and about and you're buying and you're purchasing things, I know it takes a little longer to do it. I know that it takes time to check out the labels, to read the ingredients list, to see what's going on in whatever you're choosing to eat. And I think eating out is probably a little more difficult than it is if you're able to prepare things ahead of time and take it with you, because you can't see what oils in everything. And like I said, sugar's in so many things. So as you're out and about thinking, okay, how is this going to affect me down the road? So just keep that in mind. One of the things that I also wanted to focus on today is different types of sugars and what that looks like for us, and kind of give, like I said, a good, better, best scenario. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything. There's so much here, so much information that you can do on sugar. We could be here for an hour or two, and I don't want to tie up that much of your day, so I'm trying to cram it all into just a little bit of time. But excuse me. So, also there are different things that cause inflammation, not just sugar, but sugar is a contributing factor. It can be too much sodium. It can be MSG in your food. It can be just different things like that. But there are things like different diets that you can do. And while we're not on here to suggest any sort of specific diet, and I know we've mentioned that several times, there are anti-inflammatory diets and things like that you can do too. And there are certain foods that are considered to be anti-inflammatory foods, which are helpful for that as well. But getting back to sugar, one of the things I wanted to show you are some different types of sugar that you can use in place of granulated sugar. So if you're cooking, or if you bake, if you're a baker, I'm not a big baker, I don't do much baking, but if you do, or if there's something that you're making and you want to add some replacements in, here's a few things you can do. First, hopefully you can see all this. I want to show you the ingredients list and nutrition facts for regular plain old sugar. I don't know if you can see that or not. 30 calories in a teaspoon, and yes, I did have this in my cabinet. But 30 calories in a teaspoon, and if you look down here at the bottom, no nutrition facts as far as nothing's good for you. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Nothing on there any good. So this is bad. It's refined. It's processed. Remember we talked about in the past, process is not your friend. So anything refined and processed is not your friend. This has been processed and refined. That's the first thing. The second thing is blue agave nectar. Now, this is processed to a certain extent. They have to process it because it comes from a plant, and it can't look like this directly from a plant by itself. So it's the blue agave nectar. And y'all, I shop at Walmart most of the time. I don't have a lot of fancy grocery stores around here. So, this is just organic, raw amber agave nectar. Now, one of the things that I wanted to share too is called the glycemic index. And what that is, it just measures how quickly and what it looks like when this particular sugar enters the bloodstream and how high it's going to spike. And granulated sugar, this sugar it's around 60. So the glycemic index around here is 60, 65. Agave nectar is around 20. So it's a much lower on the glycemic index, but it is still sugar. And if you're a diabetic, you don't need much sugar at all. And for anyone, well, mainly none of us really need a whole lot of sugar, but diabetics especially have to be careful. So that's the blue agave nectar. Then we have coconut sugar, coconut palm sugar. If you guys can see that. Came from Walmart as well. Walmart needs to give us a subsidiary, don't they? As much as I end up having to talk about them. And on the nutrition facts on it, all right, glasses are going to come on so I can see these little bitty labels. It does have like 2% calcium, 2% iron, 2% potassium, but no protein, no fiber, or anything like that. So you want to see the label on here. Trying to get the glare off there for you. And it's 40 calories, which we're not really looking at calories. That's not what we're doing. We're not talking about counting calories. Then we have raw honey. And I think this came from Costco. It's organic raw honey. They say the best one out there is Manuka honey. I haven't used it. It's kind of expensive, and I haven't used it. I just use this. Typically, the darker the honey, the better the honey is. And if you look at the nutrition facts on honey, it does have some good stuff. Raw honey does have things like vitamin B's, vitamin C, potassium, phosphorus. I think it has a little magnesium too. You can see. Yes, it does. Magnesium, zinc. Honey has, so once again, it is a sugar, and you have to treat it as a sugar. And I believe that the glycemic index for honey is anywhere from 35 to 55. So it's still up there a little higher than the agave nectar, but it is raw, it is natural. This is one thing, we all know where honey comes from, and so it actually comes from bees, and it's considered raw and it's natural. And like I said, it does have some vitamins and minerals in there, so that's important too. Just a little side note about honey. Honey is one of the few things that is antibacterial, it is antiviral, it is antifungal. So it has some good properties in it to not only use because you like it and because it's a better alternative than regular table sugar, it also has some things that are good for you. So for me personally, if I'm going to be using things, like if I want to, transfer out something and swap sugar for something, I usually use honey. And oh yeah, and thanks Donna. Donna actually says if you use for seasonal allergies, try to find local honey. It'll help when with your allergies when you're at home. So that's a great tip. Thanks. So I prefer just raw honey for things. And we're not in the apocalypse, so I'm not suggesting this. But if you're out and about and you have your honey on the truck, and for some reason you get a cut or something happens and you get a scrape, and you don't have ointment on there to put on there, honey is, like I said, it is antibacterial. So slap some honey on there. There you go. And it'll help you until you can do something else with it and clean it up. So love, love, love my honey. This is my choice for things, but I mean, we all have our things we like best. But once again, it is sugar. So you want to be careful with how much you use. Probably one thing that I've been asked already is there anything that we can do that has 0 on the glycemic index? And that is a yes. And it's stevia. Stevia is the one thing that is 0 on the glycemic index, but and it's not metabolized by the liver. But you don't want to use it all the time either. You want to try to get your things naturally if at all possible. So what I use, and this is totally up to you guys, I use something called Better Stevia. Oh, and I have a friend, believe it or not, one of my good friends, she's allergic to stevia, so she can't take it. That's kind of strange. I've never heard of that. But this is what I use. I think you guys can see that. It's called Better Stevia. I have to order it off of Amazon. I can't find it around here anywhere. If you're some of the places that have some of the big specialty stores, you can probably find it there. But this is pure stevia, and so that's why I like it so much. So it's Better Stevia Organic Stevia. And that's what I get from Amazon. One of the things, the last things I want to share with you is kind of I guess you'd say good, better, best. It's not good, but it's not. So, the first thing is we have plain old apple juice. Plain old apple juice. And if you look on the back of the apple juice, it does have a little bit of potassium. It does have a little bit of vitamin C, but it has no fiber at all. And so, and no protein. Well, yeah, no protein. I didn't think it did, but no fiber in here. So guess what? It's going to go straight, give you that quick burst of energy, and then you're going to crash and a sugar spike. So that's regular apple juice. This right here is a juice. It's like a mixture of different juices, and it actually does have, and if you feel like you just got to have a juice, this is probably a better one to do because it does have 3 grams of fiber, and it also has vitamins and minerals. So it's just one of the nectar juices. So that's a good thing. But the absolute best way, if you want to get a little high there, I guess is what you want to call it, but have some instant energy, and you want to have some energy, but you want it to metabolize slowly, is eat the apple. Don't have the apple juice. Don't have this juice. Just eat the apple. That's the way it's going to be the best for you. And you can, these are just easy to keep in the truck, pick up, have a snack, going down the road. So hopefully this has been helpful and I haven't taken up too much of your time. If you have any other questions on sugar or any effects on the body or anything like that, please feel free to put it here in the comments. Hit me up. Let me know where you are today. I do have one little quiz that you guys, I'd like for you to put it in the comments if you can remember. On Monday, we talked about 3 things that your body needs at a cellular level to function optimally. 3 things. And I'll give you the first letter of each one. And if you remember it, put it in the comments. It's P and F and C. PFC. If you guys can remember it, post it in the comments, and we'll see who all can get it right. Thanks so much for watching today, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday. Thanks again. Have a good day. Stay safe.